Hi guys, in this video, as you can see by the title, I really want to thank you for finally getting me to 1,000 subscribers. I honestly can't believe that this has happened. It's so insane. Literally, the other day, I was literally just going to bed and we hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. I thought that I would at least have to wait until the morning, but no, we literally hit it in the evening. And I honestly was so excited. I was so excited, and I'm still so happy that we finally hit 1,000 subscribers. And I really want to thank you for finally getting me to this point. It's amazing that we've actually finally managed to get to this point. Not because I never thought I was gonna get here. I expected to eventually get there. I definitely expected to get there sooner, but I'm still very much grateful that we got there at all, because for the longest time, especially the more time went on, the more I was just slowly gaining subscribers. It really felt like one of those things where, like, when you're a kid, like, you can't really imagine yourself doing certain things when you're an adult that other people do. Like, you can't really imagine yourself marrying, or when you start school in the first grade, you can't really imagine yourself when you get to graduating in 12th grade. It kind of felt like that for me. For getting 2,000 subscribers. I always knew that it was going to happen eventually. It's just that I could never really imagine. I couldn't really imagine myself in the situation of it actually happened, but it did. And I couldn't be more happy that we actually got to this point. Although, for whatever reason, it's been like 2 days since we actually hit the 1,000 subscriber mark, and I'm already a YouTube partner and everything, and I'm supposedly monetized, but it still doesn't really show as if I'm making any kind of money. And it's not like I'm expecting to like make a lot of bucks, like $100 because of the videos that I do. I don't really expect that amount of money right now, but I thought with at least the amount of views that I get, even though it's like still very little for like the cartoon reactions, I thought that I would be getting at least, I don't know, at least $1, $2 per video. Maybe like even cents. I would be okay with even cents, but it doesn't really seem to be showing anything yet. Maybe it's because it needs a couple of days to really get there. But so far, I still am not really making money off of my videos, even though ads are definitely showing on my videos, and even the type of ads that are showing up on other videos, like the ads in the beginning of the videos, which I don't really think were showing up before. I don't know. You guys would know because you've been watching my videos, but for me, whenever I've been playing my videos, I never really got ads, so maybe I wasn't really... Ads weren't showing on my channel, even though, according to YouTube, they can show ads even if I am not at like 1,000 subscribers. It's just that I'm not gonna make money off of it, which, by the way, it's just such a ridiculous concept of YouTube just stealing money away from you. With that, because it's all arbitrary rules, but it is kind of despicable that they can play ads, make money off of those ads, but you can't make anything. And even then, I still need to make at least like $70 per month to be able to get those money. Otherwise, I'll have to wait until I get $70 to get them out. But I'm getting a little bit sidetracked. Like I've promised, because we finally hit 1,000 subscribers, and I've been asking you to write down a bunch of questions for me to answer. That's what we're going to be doing in this video. And we definitely have a decent amount of questions to talk about. Pretty mixed in terms of like actual personal questions and questions in relation to Tmnt, because you guys seem to really want to know my opinions on a lot of Tmnt 2012 related stuff. So I'm definitely going to be answering those. But we also got questions that I personally wanted to get more of, like the more personal questions. Like, for example, this first question by Ashes. Do you want to write only zombie apocalypse infection stories like Dead Inside, or wouldn't you mind working with different genres? So for those of you who don't know, I'm actually a writer. Well, I call myself a writer. I don't know if you can call me a writer, because I just write stories for Wattpad, and I don't really even write as much as I want to write, but I enjoy writing. I think I can write really well, all things considered, considering what I'm trying to do. Like, I feel like I'm doing it, I feel like I'm doing what I'm going for really well. And so far, I only have one story that I've started called Dead Inside, which is a zombie story very much akin to The Walking Dead. And that is honestly kind of par for the course with the kind of stories that I write or want to write. It's essentially my take on The Walking Dead. And a lot of the other different stories that I do want to write are pretty much just like that, like my take on all these different franchises or properties or whatever. Like I have an idea for a story that is essentially my take on Doctor Who. I have a story that is essentially my take in a way on Charmed. It's definitely going to be heavily inspired by it. I have an idea for a story that is essentially my own fan fiction in the Yu-Gi-Oh universe, where I'm not going to be using any characters from Yu-Gi-Oh, but I'm going to be writing my own characters as if I'm writing a Yu-Gi-Oh series. Like, I have a lot of ideas like that. So to answer your question, Ashes, yes, I do want to write many different stories of different genres. Yes. And I have a bunch of other ideas, like a superhero story. Actually, I have ideas for two different superhero stories, but I'm still not decided on whether I want to make them both into a one superhero story or whether I want them to be completely separate. We'll see about that. I have actually a little bit of a children's fairy tale story that I've come up with as well. And a lot of these are at this point in time mainly concepts and maybe characters with vague ideas about what story they could have. But there's definitely ideas that I have in regards to that, and I definitely want to write many different kinds of stories. So yeah, I do want to write many different stories. And hopefully I'm gonna start writing more frequently at some point soon, but I don't know. I'm just really too focused on my YouTube channel at the moment. I guess once I start making money, decent amount of money off of my YouTube videos to where I don't have to really kind of grind essentially and do a lot of videos all the time, I might have more time to write stories. But as of now, I don't know. I want to at least write the next chapter of Dead Inside very soon, so I'm gonna try to do it in the next month at least. So yeah, let's get into the next question, which is by Spy Double. What will you do when you finish watching the Tmnt 2012 series? So I feel like I've actually answered that question quite a lot in my nostalgia trip videos where I react to the cartoons. I've talked about what series that I want to watch in the future, and especially I've mentioned the show that I'm gonna be watching once I finish Tmnt 2012, Full Metal Alchemist, and Generator X. Because if you have missed that fact, I actually started reacting to Tmnt 2012, Full Metal Alchemist, and Generator X pretty much at the same time, but I really found it too bothersome to try to do all three shows at the same time, because every show has its flow in the way you edit it. Like, you look for specific types of scenes in it to add into your reaction. Like, for example, with the TMNT 2012 series, the kind of scenes that I end up putting in the video reactions are usually either fight scenes or some really funny, jokey scenes. On the other hand, for something like the Full Metal Alchemist series, the kind of shots or parts of the reaction that I would put in the video would be either some gory moments, some moments that are important to the plot, or again, some funny moments, because there are some like that. But my main priority in those is to put the shocking moments in that. And for Generator X, it's honestly kind of the weirdest, and because I feel like I've reacted to that one the least, I still haven't really found my flow with that show, but you get what I mean. Every show has its different kind of flow in terms of it, the things you put in the reaction. So after I'm done with all these three shows, which I attempt to do and be done with at least before the summer happens, so before June, afterwards I will be starting Ben 10 most likely. It's still not concretely decided that I'm going to be doing Ben 10, but I'm very likely to, because I've kind of thought about it already for quite a while that I want to do that show next, and yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. Very likely after that, I'll probably be doing the Secret Saturdays show, because I love that show. But again, that one is even further in the future because of how many Ben 10 series there are, that it's probably going to be by next year at this point in time when I actually get to reacting to that. And I'm still not decided that that's going to be the show that I'm going to be reacting to after Ben 10, but yeah. So that's what I'm going to be doing afterwards. And I have many ideas for what other shows I can do, ranging from other cartoons like this, like the Symbionic Titan series, which sadly got cut short when it was just getting good. Thundercats, the 2011 series, which again got cut short, even though it was a great reboot. I want to watch also some more, I don't know what's called, like feminine shows, I guess, like Totally Spies. I definitely want to watch that show on the channel. I want to watch Winx eventually. I want to watch a really cool show that is kind of reminiscent of Winx called Witch. That is a really cool show. And hell, in the future, I also want to react to some live action stuff. Again, with some more geared towards female shows, like H2O, Just Add Water, which is like with three mermaids, for those of you who don't know, or even Power Rangers. I do want to react to most Power Rangers seasons at some point in the future. Even though I know a lot of what happens in those shows, I've watched Linkara's videos. I definitely want to do a reaction to some of those. And even I'm kind of saving myself from spoiling myself on some of the most recent seasons, like Beast Morphers and Dino Fury. So yeah, there's a lot that I want to do, but whether I will manage to do that or not, I don't know. Hopefully at some point in the future, I'll have enough money to actually hire an editor, because that is the thing that takes the most time for me, and that is the most bothersome, and that thing that slows me down the most in terms of how frequently I actually manage to release videos. So yeah, this answer turned out to be much longer than I expected, but still, hopefully you got what you wanted from that. So, let's go into the next question, which are actually some of my most favorite questions that I want to answer in this video by Thy Labyrinth. He or she or they have 4 questions for me. First of which is, what made you start a YouTube channel, or more specifically, a React channel? Because you've stated before that you're a writer. Not sure if you learned from your work, but I'm kind of assuming that you are. I'm not, actually. And I feel like making a YouTube about your work and promoting it would help your work be more known. So what's the drive of making a React channel instead? Well, my channel is not just a React channel. I don't know if you've noticed, but I do a lot of different types of content on the channel, ranging from said cartoon reactions, to K-pop reactions, to gaming videos, to Yu-Gi-Oh videos, to show, movie, and video game reviews. I feel like I have a pretty wide range of things that I do on my channel. And hell, I even have some ideas for future series that I can do on my channel, branching off even further into a different genre of videos. So I don't know where you got the idea that my channel is just a React channel. And actually, part of the reason why I started my YouTube channel is because I think having a YouTube channel would be better for promoting my stories, because I feel like in a certain way I enjoy writing more than I enjoy doing YouTube. Even though I love doing YouTube and I love sharing my thoughts and sharing my opinions and stuff, it is more satisfying to write stories because I don't really feel like I'm like, sometimes doing YouTube videos gets tedious. Even recording videos, it gets tedious, especially when I'm doing a lot of videos in the same day, because I have to do them. Otherwise I would get overwhelmed. It does become tedious. I don't really have that with writing. And yes, it could be because I don't really write as much as I want to, but I don't really get that from writing. I only get satisfaction from writing, whereas with YouTube, I also get some bad feelings as well. But definitely, one of my goals is to use YouTube to promote my stories. And eventually, maybe if I get the money and the means, to maybe actually make it into an actual comic book or a graphic novel, should I say, more so. Um, and to answer your question about what made me start a YouTube channel, to be honest, I don't really know per se, because I feel like I've always had that wish in my mind that I wanted to have, like, for lack of a better term, my own show. Like, I remember when I was, I don't know, like 4 or 5, like before I even started going to kindergarten, I would be very frequently playing as if I was a late night talk show host, because there was this talk show host who is famous in my country, who my granddad used to watch all the time and still watches all the time, but I obviously watched it because of him. And I don't know, something about that attracted me, and I always since have wanted to have like my own show where I do whatever I want and talk about whatever I want. And then there was the iCarly Nickelodeon show, which I'm sure you've heard of, which promoted my wishes to have like my own show where again I do whatever I want even more so. And I feel like that amplified it much more, because before that it was just like a faint thought maybe in the back of my head, but that really amplified it. And by the way, I only like 2 or 3 years ago I realized that I actually wanted to be a writer, and was a writer when I was a kid even. I had, for most of my teenage years, I had actually forgotten completely that when I was a kid, I actually used to write stories. Like, I used to love making up stuff. I remember that I had even written like a really weird and nonsensical story because I was like 8 or whatever. And I wish I actually had kept the notebook that I wrote it in somewhere, because it was, it could be really interesting to try to fit that story and improve it into an actual cohesive and coherent story right now. But I kind of completely forgot over the years that I actually had an interest in writing, which explains why when I was like 17, I actually had, I don't know, I actually had like a little bit of a talent, for lack of a better term. I don't know what to call it, but I had a skill there that apparently I had even since I was a kid. So essentially, since I was a kid, I both have wanted to be a writer and write stories and have my own TV show. So here we are today. So yeah, let's get into the next question. Question 2. Do you have any tips for someone starting out a YouTube channel? Because as an animation student, I don't really have any confidence yet to post my work. And just thinking about creating something like Coffee or Patreon, basically anything that involves asking a stranger to donate money, kind of sounds intimidating to me. So, these are 2 pretty big questions here that are honestly pretty simple to answer. For starting a YouTube channel, the best advice I can give you is to just start it, really. That is honestly the best advice one can give you, because you don't really have the skills to be a YouTuber right off the bat. You don't really have the skills to edit well right off the bat. You don't really know how to behave in front of camera right off the bat. These are all skills that you accumulate as you're doing it. Like, look back to how my videos looked and the quality of them back when I first started compared to now. While I still personally don't think my videos are like high tier or anything, I think I've definitely improved. And in terms of the actual production of the videos behind the scenes, I've definitely improved, because I've learned a lot about the ins and outs of my editing software, Camtasia, which, by the way, if you edit, I think, and you don't really know anything about editing, Camtasia is honestly very user-friendly and very easy to maneuver with and use. Like, it's a very good editing software. It has its flaws, and it's probably not like as good as like a professional one, like Adobe Premiere or whatever the name of it is, but it is surprisingly useful if you just want to do like, for lack of a better term, generic YouTube videos like reactions or gaming videos. It's honestly really good, and you can tailor different types of settings for your videos, for the different videos that you do. Like, for example, my gaming videos have different settings for them, for the quality of them, compared to my reaction videos, because the gaming videos sometimes end up being too big, so I kind of shrink the quality a little bit. And that makes it very easy to keep track of the different details about those videos. And yeah, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked, but essentially, the best advice one can give you is to just do it. You will suck at the beginning, most likely. I don't think anybody is an amazing YouTuber right off the bat. Go back and watch the first videos of any YouTuber, really, and you'll see how much, how shit they are, for lack of a better term. You learn as you go, essentially, and you improve over time. And in a way, it might be annoying if you are a perfectionist like me, because I always want everything that I do to be perfect and polished and then to release it. But it's not really possible, because no matter how much you think you have perfected your skills and you're perfected your editing, you keep improving over time. Because with the time, you can even see with my thumbnails, there was a time where I thought that my thumbnails back in like early 2020 were these amazing and beautiful thumbnails, but then I ended up shifting to the way I do my current thumbnails, where I just take like a picture from the music video or from whatever and write the text on it, and it's much more aesthetically pleasing in my opinion. And even with like my cartoon reactions, you can see how I relatively recently shifted the way the thumbnails look to where it has my face on it and one of the most impactful scenes of the episode in it. Like, you're gonna improve and change as you go. So honestly, yeah, just do it. Nobody really is going to judge you for your quality. The people who care about that quality are probably not gonna watch your videos when you're a small YouTuber in the first place. I don't really think I've seen more than like maybe 5 at most comments over the course that I've had this channel that have been like, your videos are shit, you're a waste of life, or anything along the lines of that. So just do it, really. And as for asking people to support you on Ko-fi or Patreon, I've kind of had the same worry where I didn't want to feel like I was begging people to give me money or to guilt trip people into helping me out in any way. So I at first I was like kind of wary of doing that, but at a certain point I started to make sure that it's clear that to the people who potentially might want to support me, that they don't have to if they don't want to. Only the people who want to and have the means to support me should do so. If they want to. So I feel like as long as you make that clear to the people that could potentially support you, it's all good. Like, you shouldn't feel bad about it, because you didn't force them to give you money. You didn't manipulate them to give them for them to give you their money. So there's nothing to worry about. So again, just do it. Tell them that they don't need to give you money if they don't want to, but that it's greatly appreciated. Essentially what I say at the end of all my videos. Okay, so question 3. What does the AG stand for in your name? Because whenever you greet yourself, you always say Plummy and not Plummy AG. I find it hilarious that I just realized that while I was typing this comment out. Haha. It's not really that complex. It's literally just my initials. Like, my initials are PAG. And my first name is Plummy, so that's what the name of the channel is. And the other 2 letters are the initials of my surname and my family name. And the reason why they're there and it's not just Plummy, it's honestly just for the sake of the channel being like more noticeable and much easier to search, because I feel like it's much less likely to have another channel called Plummy AG than there is for another channel that is just called Plummy, because it's not an uncommon name in my country. And hell, in my small town, there's like, I don't know, 6 or 7 people who have that name. It's kind of insane at this point. Hell, one of my mom's colleagues has that name, and one of my dad's colleagues has that name. It's kind of insane how many people have that name. My granddad has that name. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, the only reason why it says Plamy AG and not just Plamy is for the sake of my channel being more easily found when you look it up on YouTube. Okay, so for the final question, number 4. Lastly, do you have any future plans for the channel? I know you have a lot of plans to react to more series for the nostalgia trip, and I'm all here for it. Can't wait for your Generator X reaction. But other than reacting, do you plan on doing other things on the channel? And the answer to that is yes. Like I mentioned, I definitely have some ideas for different series that I could do on my channel. Again, similarly to the way I write in my stories, a lot of the different types of series that I do on my channel for the videos are essentially inspired by already existing YouTubers or existing series on YouTube. So the thing that I actually want to do quite a lot, but the only way I can actually do it is whenever I actually start making a decent amount of money off of YouTube, is a series called Ride with Plamy, which essentially is gonna be me with a bike, with a bicycle, and a backpack going around my country and exploring it and exploring cool locations and cool cities and towns and the like, and essentially just living off of that one backpack, potentially maybe sleeping in motels or whatever, or maybe even camping out. Like, that is something that I want to do in the future, but I need to have the money to actually do that, because right now I don't even have a bicycle. And one thing that I will be doing in the vein of that very soon, at some point this year for sure, is I'm gonna be showing you a pretty cool, in my eyes at least, location in my town, which is like an old quarry that me and my cousins used to go to whenever we decided to skip school. But again, I'm going to talk about that more whenever I do that video. But I think it's a pretty cool location, and you're going to see how my little town looks in that video, because it's on the side of a mountain. So I think it's pretty cool, and I'm going to be telling you a lot of stories about that location. So that is probably going to be essentially the first episode of Ride with Plamy. But I definitely will want to do a series like that in the future. As for other different series, there really isn't anything concrete that I've come up with. I kind of want to do something similar to GeoWizard, who, for those of you who don't know, is a British, well, I think he's Welsh. I don't remember whether he's English. No, he's English. I think he's English. Who has a video series on his channel where he walks across countries in straight lines. And I obviously cannot walk through a country in a straight line, but I definitely want to attempt something like that, at least in something like my town. So that is potentially something that I want to do in the future. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's honestly essentially just me wanting to do some more outside videos, because I've kind of grown a little bored with just doing videos inside my room, so I kind of want to branch out a little bit. But yeah, that is probably the most major thing that I want to do that I'm not doing right now on the channel. But who knows? Who knows what the future brings and what kind of videos I'll decide to do in the future. You never know. And I guess I also definitely want to do some more videos where I interact with you guys. I guess something similar to what PewDiePie did with like meme review, or Jacksepticeye does with meme time. I definitely want to interact more with you like this, because it's really fun talking to you guys and interacting with you. I love doing that in the comments. But yeah, that is for right now for Thy Labyrinth. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, so for the next question, we have questions from Nabil King, 6 questions. And actually, I think I told you that I was not going to be answering your second question, because by the time I was going to be doing this video, I probably was going to be done with Season 4's reactions already, but that is not the case. I'm halfway through Season 4 right now. But yeah, I guess you're going to get your answer to that question as well. So, Let's start off with question number 1. What's the best episode in season 1 of Tmnt 2012? Should I specify? And I know that you don't want to hear that, but honestly, there isn't one episode of season 1 that I could say is egregiously bad compared to the other ones. Because I feel like I've made it very clear how much I don't like season 1. It's not necessarily that it's bad even as much as it's just boring. Like, there's nothing that excites me about season 1. It's boring, it's uninteresting. Sure, it has some developments, but there's no spice to it. There's nothing really to excite me there. Because, like, right off the bat, as soon as we started the first episode of season 2, and it was instantly so much more entertaining and so much more creative. There was more interesting shots. There was more interesting story choices and jokes. It just instantly got better. Culminating in season 2 with some of my favorite episodes, like the Beaver episode. Or right now in season 4 with the Worm Genie episode. Like, these are crazy fun episodes. It's been getting better with each season, but season 1, I really don't like and don't care about it. So, essentially, there isn't really a best or worst episode for that season. The best I could give you is potentially maybe the episode that Karai comes in, that being the best episode, but again, that is not really saying much, but I don't know what else to say. It's just not really an entertaining season, and even after going through Wikipedia to remind myself of what happened in those episodes, because it's been like a year since I watched them, if not even longer, yeah, there was just nothing really particularly entertaining which stood out to me compared to the rest of those things. So yeah, hopefully you're satisfied with that answer. Let's go into next question. Question number 2. What do you think will happen in season 4? What do you want to happen in season 4? So for the first half of this question, what do I think is going to happen in season 4? I kind of have an idea of what's going to happen because I have a little bit of spoilers, unfortunately, because over the years I've both watched reviews which have mentioned things about the 2012 Tmnt series, and I've watched some episodes of the Tmnt 2012 series, even from like season 3 and season 4. Like, I remember watching the scene of season 4 where the turtles come back to Earth with Honeycutt, and I think they save the planet, and then a different version of the turtles goes with Honeycutt or something like that. So I kind of have an idea of what's going to happen in this season. Plus, I have a certain spoiler about a certain character that is going to turn bad, or in a way. But again, I don't know when that's going to happen, whether it's going to happen this season or next season. So I expect halfway through the season for us to properly defeat the Triceratons and save Earth. And then for the rest half of the season, we're probably going to be dealing with that character turning bad or some shit, or something like that. As for what I want to happen in season 4, I honestly don't know. What I wanted to happen for this show is that they actually stopped having so much filler in the middle of the seasons, because I feel like when you write down all the story that we have in these 4 seasons, or 3.5 at the moment, I feel like you could easily congest all the story either in 2 seasons or even in just the 3. Like, you can congest it so much more, because in every half of every season there's like a bunch of filler episodes that clearly are dragging out the story longer than it should be. So in a way, what I wish was happening right now is that we were already done with the Triceraton arc, with that being the season 3 arc, and for season 4 for us to have something completely different, like the aforementioned arc of this character turning bad, or I don't know, something else. But to be honest, it doesn't really bother me at the end of the day, the way it is right now. Like, we're still getting through the story, and it's still entertaining enough for me to enjoy it. But I definitely, personally, would have done it differently for it to be better. I feel like it needs to be congested much more and contracted much more for the show to be much more entertaining. I feel like if you actually put all the content in the first 4 seasons into 2 seasons, the show would go from like an 8 out of 10 to maybe like a 9.5 in my opinion, because there's a lot of filler and that definitely drags the show for me down. And yeah, there was a lot of filler in the 2003 series as well, but the thing is with that series, a lot of that said filler was actually world building, and it was actually what I enjoyed the most about that show. The filler episodes, like like Notes from the Underground, is very much a filler arc. Other episodes like the episode where we meet the flying people, or the episode I Monster, it's also like kind of like a standalone bottle filler episode. So question 3. What's the best episode in the show so far? Objectively, I mean, I don't know really. I haven't really thought of it like that objectively. I feel like the objectively best episode is probably going to be happening towards the end of the season, if I remember correctly. But as it stands right now, my personal favorite episode is definitely the Dream Beavers episode, because it was so funny, it was so nonsensical, it was so crazy and creative and fun. I love it. I had such a good time with that episode. And similarly, I had a very good time with the recent Worm episode, but the Dream Beaver episode, I feel like, is the best episode for me so far. Because it's the one episode that I always go back to whenever I'm thinking about the show, and it's the one episode that I can literally remember every single thing that happens in it. It's that memorable for me. I remember all the amazing visuals in that episode. It's a really, really good episode, honestly. It's a really good episode. Like, for me, it's the best. It's like a 10 out of 10. Question 4. If you had to rate the space arc so far, what would you give? I don't know. 8.4 out of 10? We definitely have gotten some very entertaining stuff, and similarly to my opinion of Season 3 in the beginning, it's actually really refreshing and exciting, and I enjoy what we're having, but we kind of shifting in terms of the quality from episode to episode. Some are fun, some are less fun, but overall it is pretty entertaining so far, and I feel like I can't really rate the arc without seeing it fully. Like, so far, it is pretty entertaining, but that could easily change. Like, right now, if it's an 8.4 out of 10, if it really drags on to the arc ending at the end of the season and not halfway through it, like how I'm expecting it's going to be, it could potentially drag it down to maybe even a 6, I don't know, because I don't like shoving filler in the middle of the story. But so far, it has been pretty entertaining. I've really enjoyed the Doctor Who-like feel that it has, not only because we have David Tennant as the smart guy, but also because it has employed the sci-fi concepts pretty well. Like, out of this season so far, my favorite episode might actually not be the Worm episode, although, again, I really like the space zombies in that one, but I actually have grown to like the Outlaw Armagon a lot as well over the last like 3 or 4 days since I reacted to it, because it has a great location that reminds me of Alien Isolation, and again because it very much feels like a Doctor Who episode, and I really like it for that. It was a really, really fun episode, a little cheesy at times and maybe a little bit too campy, but I really liked it, and I want more stuff like that. Like, I want more space opera like episodes. And if we get more, it's definitely going to end up being a really good arc. So, question number 5. Who's your favorite character in the show so far? If you had asked me this question in Season 1 or 2, I probably would have said Mikey. Because like I said back then, he was funny, he was entertaining, he was always so over-hated by his brothers. Like, he was constantly bullied and constantly punished and constantly berated all the time, and I felt for him, and I don't know, he was just like a very entertaining character. in that regard. He was always so enjoyable, and he was always the one who knew the truth, but his brothers never trusted him, even though certain things repeatedly happened, and they still didn't believe and thought that Mikey was crazy. But after the finale of season 2, I'm definitely gonna say Leonardo. Because it seems like he has gone through a very, very similar arc to what the 2003 Leo went through, where he was hurt very, very badly. So he now became a more mature and more of a badass, and kind of lost a little bit of his innocence. And I feel like, obviously, that is mostly or majorly because of the voice actor change. And I really can't begin to express how much more I love his current voice actor. No, like, shame, or I'm not trying to shit on the original voice actor, but this is Leo. This voice actor is Leo. Like, there was something always that felt hollow or was missing with the original voice actor, but with this new voice actor, who I think it's Seth Rogen or something, he really nails the Leo thing. And I've honestly come to associate this voice of Leo much more with the character and the design of the character than the previous one. Like, to me, this voice is as iconic as the voice of Leonardo in the 2003 series, which I really love that voice. And similarly to Leonardo in the 2003 series, he's become much more badass, much more jaded, and much more threatening to the villains. Like, he's become more of a badass. Like in that one scene where they were going to save Mikey, and he warned the Triceratons that he's giving them a chance to let them go and survive, and then he jumps up and he makes a hole in the ship so everybody gets sucked out. Like, that was badass. And I don't think Leo in season 1 or 2 would have done that. It really doesn't feel like it. So I really like Leo now. I really, really do. He's probably my favorite character and the one that I enjoy the most. And it's definitely most big part because of the performance by the new voice actor. And for question number 6, which is the final question that Namo King has asked me, who is your favorite villain in the show? So on one side we have Shredder and his lackeys, which are fine enough, and especially for Shredder, I actually think he's pretty badass, at least in the later season of the show, more so in season 3, especially in that fight where it's the Turtles and the Mutanimals all surrounding Shredder and fighting against him. Like, that is probably one of the best fights in the show. I really enjoy that. So I actually like Shredder a lot. I've grown to like him a lot, even though I was complaining about him a lot in the beginning. Then we have the Triceratons, I guess, if you want to count them as villains, which I think they are because they destroyed Earth. They are pretty good, and they give the show a certain vibe that makes it reminiscent of the 2003 series, because they're pretty much one-to-one as the Triceratons from the 2003 series so far. And I enjoy them, but I think the title of my favorite villain of this show would probably go to Krang Supreme, because not only is he an entertaining villain, he has great personality compared to the other Krangs, which are just clones who repeat the same stuff and don't really talk normally. But I also really feel sympathy for him. Like, he feels like a three-dimensional villain. I feel more sympathy for him than I do for the Shredder. Like, I really enjoy Krang Supreme. His personality is entertaining and great, and the way he just does not suffer fools, like he hates how stupid the rest of the Krang are, is so funny. And like I said, I feel actual sympathy for him, like when the Triceratons show up in the season 3 finale and blow up the Technodrome. I actually feel bad and feel sad for him and how afraid he is from for the Triceratons showing up. Like, he genuinely feels like a guy I would love to hang out with. And I feel like that's the sign of a great character. He's a really entertaining villain, he's a really entertaining character, and you can feel sympathy for him. Like, he's not just a black and white villain. Like, there's more of a gray area to him, and I really like him because of that. ultimately. We obviously have all these random like one-off monsters of the week, but I am pretty much gonna stick with Crank Supreme. And yeah, that is for Nabil King's questions. So let's go into the next one. By Don Hanzo. What got you into BTS slash K-pop music? It's honestly kind of like insane from what a little thing my love for K-pop and essentially my life has developed into. Because it was just literally a random occurrence that caused me to become a K-pop fan. It was in 2016 when I was just sitting at my computer and browsing the internet like any other day, and I was watching YouTube videos, and I stumbled upon a certain YouTube channel called The Fine Brothers React or something along those lines. I don't know exactly what the name of the channel is, but I'm talking about the Fine Bros. And they had a certain series called YouTubers React to K-pop. And I'm pretty sure the first video that I saw with the first K-pop songs that I ever heard were EXO's Monster, IOI's Dreamgirls, and BTS's Dope. And I obviously instantly loved them and I was instantly drawn into them. Then I obviously saw GOT7's Just Right, Twice's like Ooh-Ah, and yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a bunch of other ones, but those are like the first 5 that I ever saw, and I was instantly hooked. Like the songs were instantly catchy, they were amazing, they were memorable, they were impactful, and it really felt like I was looking for this kind of music exactly my whole damn life. Because all my life, whenever I've been listening to music, I love to sing along to the songs. And obviously, because English is not my native language, for most of my life, I actually didn't know how to speak it properly. Maybe I knew how to read it. I especially did in my early to mid teen years. I definitely knew how to read it, but I couldn't speak it. So I couldn't especially understand spoken or sung English. So whenever I was singing along to songs in English, I would literally just be singing gibberish. And with K-pop, I'm essentially doing the same thing right now. Whenever I listen to K-pop, I just sing along in complete gibberish because I can't speak or read or understand Korean. But it's just the way the songs are also made. It's just exactly, it's perfectly fitting to me. It's like I'm one puzzle piece and K-pop is this other puzzle piece that fits exactly where it should. And yeah, that's kind of why I like it. And there's also the fact that K-pop songs for me have much bigger longevity in terms of enjoying the songs repeatedly compared to Western music or honestly any kind of other music, which is probably the biggest reason why I love K-pop and why I want more countries to do this kind of style of music. Because when I first got into K-pop, I literally would constantly be repeating the choruses of all the songs in my head. They were so memorable. And even like a week, 2 weeks after I first heard the songs, I was still constantly listening to them. Hell, I'm still constantly listening to some of them, especially the BTS ones. Comparatively with the American songs, I would probably listen to a song for like a day or 2 before I get bored of it. And that even applies to like some of my favorite artists or groups or whatever you want to call it, like Big Time Rush or Ross Lynch, which was predominantly what I was listening to prior to becoming a K-pop fan. Even for those groups, for Big Time Rush and for Ross Lynch, the songs weren't as exciting after 2 weeks as K-pop songs still are for me. Hell, like I said, I still listen to K-pop songs from like 2016, 2017 especially, and they're still so damn catchy. And as for the reason why I got into BTS, it's because they were like obviously one of the first K-pop groups that I ever heard, but their music was just different even from the rest of K-pop. Over the following months that I got more into K-pop and I was more aware of the typical K-pop sound and everything, BTS instantly stood out, and their songs and the messages in their songs just felt very relatable and interesting and deep. Like, for example, in their song No, they're talking about rebelling against school, at least from surface level stuff. That's what it feels like. They have a lot of rebellious messages in their songs, which is why I like them a lot and why it pisses me off what they have become in this day and age. So yeah, hopefully that satisfies your question. Now let's get into the next question by Sleet, which is, what time of the day are you at your best? Like, are you a morning person, night person, evening person, none, etc.? Short answer, I'm definitely a night owl. A little bit of a longer answer, I'm mostly at my best, I'd say probably from 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. That's kind of the period of time where I'm at my best and I'm the most productive. Not necessarily in my best mood, because I feel like sometimes I'm more into just waking up at 8 a.m. in the morning and going to bed in like 12 p.m. in the afternoon, in the night. But in terms of productiveness, I'm definitely a night owl, and I enjoy the calmness and the peace of the night, but sometimes I also like being awake during the day and just being like a normal person. So I would say I'm an 80% night owl and 20% early bird or whatever. So yeah, let's get into the next question by Nalos. Do you like living in Bulgaria? Which, for those of you who don't know, that's my country. That's the country I live in. It's my motherland, so to speak. Short answer, no. I don't. For many reasons that I'm going to get into in a second. A longer answer, I enjoy the nature of the country and the architecture and the like the country per se is not necessarily bad. It's the people and the mentality of the people here that causes me not to like living in this country. Because pretty much everybody from my experience, that of a person from a small town, everybody here is conservative, close-minded, potentially religious, definitely superstitious, stupid. Essentially, everybody here is a redneck, for lack of a better term. We even have our own term for a redneck called baiganyo. It's the stereotypical Bulgarian, hell, even the stereotypical person from the Balkans. But I'm personally not really a big fan of that kind of people. As a very progressive and open-minded person, which I really don't know how the hell did I become like this in this sea of rednecks around me. I really don't feel at home at all. It really sometimes makes me feel like I'm the only sane person where I live. Like, literally, I would go to my dentist and she would be talking about superstitious crap all the goddamn time. And every Bulgarian is like that. Everybody's superstitious, everybody is corrupt, everybody is close-minded, and it's very much like a redneck. Everybody's a redneck. And I'm only slightly exaggerating just to make my point, but pretty much everybody I've met is like that, more or less. And even the younger people are not really that much less so than that. And again, I've only had the experience of a person from a small town, so maybe I'm biased. But even the young people are not necessarily as progressive and as open-minded and as nice as me. And I know that might sound like I'm self-aggrandizing and I'm making myself out to be like very woke or whatever, but yeah, I am. I'm very open-minded and progressive. And for crying out loud, I'm trans. So no matter what, no matter whether these stereotypes are right, are correct or not, this country doesn't want me here. And before I continue with that, I do want to explain to you what I mean by the fact that I'm a trans person, because maybe not all of you know, but yes, I am trans. For simplicity's sake, I describe myself as non-binary, because at first, when I first realized that I was trans, I thought I was full-on male to female, and maybe in a way I still am. I just choose not to describe myself as that because there's just not really a feasible way that I could genuinely look like a female at birth kind of person. But for simplicity's sake, I describe myself as non-binary, even though I mostly want to look like a female in every way, shape, or form. I want to look like a female, I want to dress like a female, I want to be referred to as female. Although there are definitely moments, sometimes, that I feel perfectly fine being a guy and even enjoy being a guy. So for simplicity's sake, let's just say that I'm 80%, want to be 80% female and 20% male. That's kind of how I describe myself. And there's just not really a feasible way for me to transition here, which is why I need your guys' help. Like I say at the end of every video, I need your guys' support. Even if it's just like mental support, it helps a lot. But monetary support is definitely greatly appreciated, because the only feasible way for me to transition is by moving out of this country to either Ireland or the Netherlands, and I really don't have the means to do that. And it's not really possible for me to work in my country and be trans, so that is not an option as well. So I'm just kind of in a catch-22 situation, and the time and the clock is ticking. So I would really appreciate if you guys could help me. But yeah, my country will never accept me. Bulgaria is a very conservative, not really religious per se, but still spiritual kind of country, and very superstitious. And everybody here is close-minded bigot, or the majority at least are. So even if I could go through all the trouble one needs to go through to transition here, it would still not be a nice place to live. And that is not even getting into the fact that my father would disown me and potentially murder me if he realizes that I'm trans, because he's lost at this point. He's completely lost. I honestly do not cut my ties with him, because I still live with my parents, and because as much as I hate him, he's still my dad. But god damn it, he lost. So yeah, in short, I would love to live in Bulgaria, but I don't. Which is why I need your help to move out of this country and be able to transition into, at the very least, a non-binary state. Potentially even a full-on female state. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say in regards to that. Let's get into the next question, if there is one, because I'm pretty sure we're getting close to the end. Okay, so next question by Cartoon Fangirl 1136. And again, a lot of those questions, pretty much all of them, seem to be about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012 series. So I'm probably going to keep it short for a lot of these questions because I already answered them. So, favorite character? Leonardo. Favorite villain? Krang Supreme. Do you think Casey should get more development since Donnie gets more of it? I mean, it depends on what kind of development you're talking about, because I think he needs more character development to make him, in my opinion, at least a little bit more serious, because he, just like Mikey, is kind of like a doofus, and he just keeps being doofus, even if we try to address him not being a doofus. I would definitely like some development for him. I don't really think we've gotten much for his character. But yeah, that's kind of it. Do you think Mikey deserves to be treated a lot better by his brothers? And more father-son time around Splinter since he gets the least of it? Cuff the croaking cuff. In the first half of this show, like in season 1 and 2, and maybe even part of 3, I definitely would say that he deserves to be treated better. Like, his brothers very often demean him and scream at him and beat him up even and bully him, and I definitely don't like that, and I definitely think that's very toxic behavior. But on the other hand, in at least like the last couple of episodes that I've watched of the season 4 of the TMNT 2012, especially the Journey to the Center of Mikey's Mind episode, I honestly kind of agree with his brothers about the fact that Mikey just cannot take shit seriously, and I like that that's kind of what the episode was about, in a way. So, in a way, yeah, I think she should be treated better, but he also needs to become less of an idiot. As for more father and son time, it really feels like only Leonardo gets like 60% of the father and son time, so I think everybody besides Leonardo definitely needs more father and son time with Splinter. Question number 5. TMNT 2012 or TMNT 2003? Do we even need to ask? TMNT 2003 by a long shot. At least at this point, I don't think it's because I think the 2003 series is like objectively better or whatever, but I just like the 2003 series more. I like the vibe that it has. I like that it's more a hand-drawn cartoon rather than a CGI one. I like the characters of it more. I like the world of it more. And I also just have nostalgia for it because I watched it in my childhood. So whenever I watch it, I associate it with those times. I'm feeling nostalgic for those times and the ways I felt back then. So 2003 by a long shot. But I've definitely come to appreciate the 2012 series a lot as well. So there's that. Question number 6. Least favorite character? Probably the Pulverizer. Not necessarily because he's the most biggest waste of a character or anything. He's just been the most blatantly annoying character who I'm bothered by its existence, because clearly the writers intended something different with him, but they didn't do it really, so I don't know. He's just been the most annoying character to me in terms of how it's written, not necessarily his character per se. The way he's being treated and the way he's being written is being really annoying. So he is my least favorite character. So question number 7. This isn't really a TMNT question, but have you ever thought you would make it to 1,000 subs? And I mean, I already covered that in the beginning of the video, but let's just go over it again. Yes, I definitely expected to get 2,000 subs. Actually, much sooner. I definitely did not expect that it was going to take 3 years or 2.5 years to get to 1,000 subs. I thought that maybe it's going to take a year. Potentially, I was hoping that it was going to get to 1,000 subscribers in the end of 2019 when I started doing videos in like August of 2019, which was definitely a very optimistic expectations. But at the same time, the more time went on, the more I felt like hitting 1,000 subscribers was like this event that is going to happen at some point in the future, but I can't really imagine myself in that situation. Like I said, like when you're starting school in 1st grade and you can't really imagine yourself graduating in the 12th grade until you actually get to that point. It's kind of the same with this. Question number 8. Also not a TMNT 2012 question, but have you considered playing Doki Doki Literature Club? Not really. I've heard of the memes about it. I don't really have an idea what it is about, but if you guys are interested, I can definitely give it a shot. But probably not anytime soon because I already have a lot of plans and a lot of things that I want to do. But ultimately, the thing that makes me do things that I don't want to do necessarily, or at least makes me prioritize things that I wouldn't mind doing but I don't want to do right now, is definitely the views. While I don't chase views with my videos, if a certain type of video or a series that I do on the channel gets more views, I'll definitely try to see a way to kind of bargain a little more views from it. Like, for example, with my Rate the K series where I react to K-pop songs, there are certain groups that get me more views than others, and I've started to do more videos with those groups so I get more views. Even though for those videos I won't really even get any money out of them because they are copyright claims, so I think that's dumb, but yeah, I don't know. If you guys are interested in me doing something like that, I can definitely give it a shot because you never know, I might actually enjoy it. But yeah, let's see, do we have even any more questions? Okay, so we have at least one more question, again by Sleet. If you could visit anywhere in the world, where would you visit, regardless of politics? Honestly, I'm not really a travel kind of person. I don't really have wishes to travel around the world and go to these locations or places that you can go sightseeing or whatever. I'm not really that kind of person. It never interests me, and it still doesn't. The only reason why I have an interest of doing anything like this with like the Ride with Plami series, which I'm hoping to do at some point in the future, where I will be going around my country and exploring it, is because I like exploring at least like nature. Like, I've explored pretty much every corner of my little town. I want to explore similar kind of locations around my country because I at least feel safe to do that in this country. But if I had to pick some places where I would want to go around the world, I would definitely not mind visiting Seoul in Korea because I'm a huge K-pop fan. I wouldn't mind visiting Cardiff in the UK because I'm a huge fan of Doctor Who, and that is where Doctor Who used to be shot, and I think now it's going to be shot there again. But correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys know. So there's definitely some places that might have some importance to me, but by and large, I don't really feel like I have an urge to travel around the world, so I probably won't, really. Okay, let's see. Do we have anything else? Okay, we actually have one more question at least. Again, by Thy Labyrinth. Out of all the reactions you've done in this channel, what was the lowest score rank that you ever did in one of these reactions? Because I can see that you rank your reactions either in the 8s, 9s, and 10s if the video was really good. Did you ever have a video that's really bad in your eyes that you ranked it 6 or lower? And if so, what is it and why the low rank? And right off the bat, I'm gonna tell you, I've recorded so many reactions of any kind to really be able to remember any of those ratings and why I felt like they were like that. They were this low rated. But probably the biggest likelihood for the low ratings is definitely in season 1 of Tmnt 2012. I just hate that season, man. It's so bland, it's so uninteresting, and there's nothing exciting about it. There's nothing exciting about it. And nothing really creative. I don't know what it is about it, really, that makes it so boring to me. But season 2, like literally from the first episode of season 2 of Tmnt 2012, it's instantly more entertaining with the camera work and the fighting. Everything is better, and it's been getting better with each season. So if there's any episodes that I feel like I should rate like a 6 or lower, it would probably be in the episodes of season 1. Because Tmnt 2003, even if it might have some bad episodes, I don't really think there's anything that egregiously bad. Probably again for the first season, because a lot of the fighting in season 1 of Tmnt 2003 is just the character punching the camera and then it cuts the way to the guy on the ground. That's what it is for a lot of season 1. There was some arcs like the space arc which kind of bothered me and it was kind of boring in season 2. I think it was that also. I'm pretty sure I rated it pretty low. Overall, season 3 doesn't seem like that of an entertaining season overall again. Even in like my top episodes video that I didn't really have. I don't know if I even had like one episode from season 3 that I really enjoyed. Season 4 is definitely the best. Season 5 probably is again another season that I would rate pretty low because again it was similarly to season 1 of TMNT 2012. It was very bland and it was focusing on shit and characters that I didn't really care for. Season 7 as well of TMNT 2003 was kind of bland and boring, so that probably will also get some very low ratings. My Transformers Armada reactions, I feel like for the most part that show, even if it wasn't like a 10 out of 10 all the time or anything, it was pretty consistently like at least a 7 out of 10. And for Generator X and Full Metal Alchemist, I honestly really enjoy both of those shows. They're pretty entertaining, much more so than TMNT 2012. That is not to say TMNT 2012 is not entertaining, but those two I just enjoy more. Because it feels like even as an adult you can enjoy Generator X and Full Metal Alchemist more so than for TMNT 2012, which it feels very much like a kids show in comparison. So yeah, that's kind of how I would rate it. I don't really have like one episode that stands out to me as super bad to the point of rating it very low. Although I guess there is those Garbage Man episodes in the TMNT 2003 series, which I pretty much outright skipped. I tried to record the first one in season 1, I think it was, and it was just kind of boring and annoying and I didn't like it. So if I had watched it, I would probably rate that episode a very low score. Yeah, that's kind of it, pretty much. Do we have anything else? Oh, we actually do. Give me a second to check whether we actually have... Okay, so this is actually the last question. By Silas Beard. What did you do for your 18th birthday? Again, I'm not really a party kind of person. The biggest reason why is because I don't really have any friends, first of all. Second of all, because I don't really have any friends that have similar interests to me, that enjoy music like me, and if I ever have a party, I want to play K-pop music, so already 2 steps fail me in that regard. But in general, I'm not really the kind of person to throw parties and to celebrate like that. Like, for the most part, if I celebrate, I would just be celebrating on my own, or maybe with a few people. And I think maybe it was my 18th birthday that we did that, but I think we just gathered around like my cousins and my grandma and grandpa, and we just had like a big dinner, essentially, with some steaks, sausages cooked on fire, and it was pretty nice, but nothing really that special, you know? And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you again, guys, for getting me 2,000 subscribers. This was a really entertaining video to record and talk to you guys about myself and about the things that you asked me about. I really enjoyed this. And again, thank you 1,000 for getting me 2,000 subscribers. It really means a lot to me that you have gotten me to this point, because now I can actually make some money eventually from my YouTube channel to support myself and eventually transition. Yeah, just thank you. It's insane to me that I've gotten to this point, but thank you. And if any of you guys missed the opportunity to ask me any question, feel free to comment your questions down below. I will definitely be open to doing more Q&As like this, where I answer more of your questions. I would, and if any of you guys feel, and if any of you guys miss the opportunity to ask me any questions, like this, feel free to comment your question down below, as long as obviously I haven't answered it already, because I would definitely be open to doing another video like this. And there's a lot of things that I want to talk to you about and tell you about, but I'll probably keep it for future videos, you know. But yeah, this was a really fun thing to do, so I hope you also enjoyed it. But yeah, before we end this video, in addition to thanking all of you guys for getting me to 1,000 subscribers, I want to especially thank my 3 patrons on Patreon, Omar Bridgman, Deadpool, and Shenches. Thank you guys for your support. I really appreciate it. It really means a lot to me that you have decided to support me and have continued to support me for such a long time. I hope you continue to enjoy my content and continue to support me going forward. Thank you very much. And now, before we end this video, I just want to talk about something to you guys very quickly, which some of you may or may have not noticed before or know about me, that being the fact that I am trans. And yes, this may come as shocking to some of you, because I don't really flaunt it that much on my channel, or at least I feel like I don't. Outside of like my K-pop reactions, which is where I feel like the most comfortable being myself like this. And yeah, I am in fact trans. I'm not necessarily full-on male to female, but I heavily want to transition to being pretty female. I do consider myself more non-binary though, or maybe gender fluid would be the best descriptor as well, because I do have occasional moments where I feel fine being like just a normal guy, but most of the time, like right now, I do feel very dysphoric. And that's why I'm asking you guys for any help that you can give me, because my situation right now, I don't really see any way outside of you guys' help. Because, and this is gonna be kept short and concise, I live with my parents. They're never going to accept me as a trans person. They just never will. And as a matter of fact, back when I started the YouTube channel, I was actually kind of slightly starting my transition back then, with like starting to grow out my hair. I even got to DIY HRT, but because my parents started noticing certain things, like my behavior had changed a lot and my clothes had changed a lot, I kind of had to stop doing that, because they were constantly nagging me about cutting my hair and just started to kind of be threatening in a certain way, and felt like they were ashamed of me and everything. And that just kind of stress just tired me out to the point where I just gave up. But as dysphoria goes, it just doesn't go away, you know. I still feel like this, and in fact it's somewhat been intensifying again recently, so I just wanted to share this with you guys. And again, I would really appreciate any amount of support you can give me in regards to this, because I just don't see any way out of this. Because even if I moved out of my parents' house and got myself a job and everything, that's just not gonna work for long-term planning, because once I transition, it's like I probably will not be able to get myself a job, because my country is very transphobic. Nobody gives a shit about LGBT people at all. So there's not even much I can do even in terms of transitioning here. So yeah, I don't know. I just would appreciate any amount of support you can give me, be it monetarily or in any way otherwise. And this is not about boosting my channel or anything, or guilt tripping you with my sob story. I just wanted to get this off my chest and make my subscribers aware of the situation that I am in, and that I would appreciate anything that you guys can help me out with. It would mean literally everything. Like, for example, a friend that I made after starting this YouTube channel, my good friend Yuri, has been helping me out a lot. And I genuinely might have not been here if it wasn't for him, showing up and befriending me. So yeah, this just went a little bit longer than I intended, but I would just really appreciate anything you can support me with. That's kind of ultimately what I'm trying to say. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, check out the links in the description to my Twitter if you don't follow me over there, and to my Wattpad or post my stories, because in addition to doing all these videos on my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you don't enjoy my stories, or you simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to my Patreon or to my Ko-fi account, where you can pledge your support and help get the channel going, help support me so I can keep writing the stories you enjoy. But if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine. You can still help me out in other ways, like liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and especially sharing this video with someone who you think might enjoy it. And I think this is pretty much it for this video, so hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Bye!